And what's going on, guys? Kale here coming at you with another video in regards to the G16 situation. So the last video we kind of talked about prepping for Dark Dimension 5, kind of which characters to choose from. We touched a little bit briefly on the gear, and I just wanted to kind of kind of just go over again or just kind of maybe clarify some of the stuff that I was talking about gear-wise. So this video is going to be a bit on the shorter side, but it is just going to be talking, well, pun intended, it's going to be geared towards the gear. So with that being said, let's just kind of jump right into it. So when you're looking at your Dark Dimension 5 characters, I've recommended bringing in your Doom Raid characters, and, there's a couple ways that you can currently get teal gear. So the first being, and probably the one that's going to kind of give you the most teal gear, is going to be the Raid Orb, which we get by completing Doom 2. As we get better in Doom 2, we'll start getting more of these teal gear Raid Orbs. The way you can do that is by working on your Doom Raid teams. With that being said, though, let's kind of look at the type of gear that certain characters require, kind of go over a little bit the origin gear, the uniques, and then what another content creator actually called, and I really like the idea, the hero uniques. So let's just pull up a random character that we plan on taking in. Let's talk about Deathpool. So when you look at Deathpool here, these are the basic type of gear that she's going to need. So when you look here, all of these are actually what they just consider origin pieces. So these are specific to Mystic characters. All of the Mystic characters are going to need these in some shape, form, or other. And yeah, these are pretty easy to come by. These are not kind of your bottlenecks. They're the easier ones to get. So these are the ones that, you are probably going to eventually have more of an abundance of. So when we're looking over here, though, so we have, again, the same thing here. These are just your standard origin pieces. Let's go ahead and look at this little book over here. So the book is actually going to be done by her two uniques, and these are the two Mystic uniques. So we've got the Celestial Lattice, and then we also have the Ichor. I'm not going to try to pronounce the first part, but so these are the harder to get pieces. So these are the Mystic uniques. The third kind of component to the gear that you're going to see a lot of is going to be the catalysts. Catalysts are probably the easiest to come by. You're going to get those in the Raid Orb, so these are the easy ones. Now, the last component of taking a character to G16 is going to be their hero unique. And what I mean by the hero unique, in Deathpool's case, it's going to be the Miasma. So Miasma is the hero unique that is unique to certain heroes. So, Deathpool, you have Adam Warlock, you have Cloak, Kitty Pryde are all going to require this hero unique. So just to kind of reiterate, there are 4 types of gear, or 4 pieces each character is going to need. They're going to need their origin pieces, which is, the Mystic stuff in this case. They are going to then also need a specific catalyst, whether it is a damage catalyst, focus, armor, health, and I forget the other one, but basically the catalyst pieces. It depends on the certain slot of gear. And then they are then going to thirdly require the origin uniques. So these are the Mystic ones. And then lastly, every character is going to require their own hero unique. So miasmas, alien spores, etc. Now, in terms of rarity, what I would say these go in is the rarest is probably going to be the hero uniques, so the miasmas, the alien spores, etc. Next rarest is going to be the origin uniques. So when we're talking for Mystic, we are looking at the Ichors, the Celestial Lattices, For tech, you're looking at the nanites and the tachyon conductors. Bio, you're talking about the marrow extracts, the molecular scans. Skill, it's the alpha flight ciphers, the performance trackers, the mutants, it's the compound, as well as the adaptive pathogen. Now, the next in rarity is just going to be, I would say, probably, it's kind of a tie between the catalysts and just the origin pieces. Those are probably the more abundant in gear. So with that being said, what you're choosing to buy in the stores, I think, should kind of reflect that. So depending on where you are gold-wise, Kale happens to be in a, I would say, better situation, just because I am almost a from launch player. So what I would say your focus is to get the most amount of teal gear. The way you're going to be able to accomplish that is by working on your Doom raid teams. And what I would suggest is as soon as you can get them to 85, the sooner the better. So, looking at Kale, I'm a little short on gold right now, so I'm only spending about 1 million gold a day on training. But you can see I've pretty much taken up almost all of my Doom Raid teams to level 85. I just have Mutant and Mystic left, and that'll be done, and that'll also free up a lot of gold for me, which I'm looking forward to. But what I'm also then doing is in the supply store. Now, we currently have the Lady Deathstrike event going on. I am focusing primarily on the Lady Deathstrike shards. I would like to get her as close to 5 stars as possible, if not an actual 5-star. The other thing that I'm choosing to spend my mini candies on, and I don't care so much for the Venom costume, but I am buying the hero uniques. I think that is kind of your best bang for your buck. I haven't noticed, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't noticed the origin uniques in the candy store, so that hasn't been an option. But basically, every store refresh, I am buying a Lady Deathstrike, and I'm also buying a hero unique. Now, I'm sure we're also going to get other events that are very similar to this in the future. Scopely seems to really be enjoying these kind of limited time stores. And I would highly suggest stocking up on Origin uniques. You may have a plan on who you're planning to take into DD5, but as new characters are released, that plan might change, because new characters that are being released are crazy overpowered, and you could have this crazy new city character that comes to the game that you will probably want to take into DD5, or some new crazy cosmic character or global character, so on and so forth. So it's a good idea to stock up on these origin uniques, even if it's not necessarily for a character that is currently in the game that you might not be taking with you. Like this, the Augmented Prometheum, I mean, it is for Gamora. I am planning to take Gamora in. There is one unique, I believe it is the Palladium, which is a Thanos hero unique. I don't plan on taking Thanos into DD5, but there might be a new character release that requires that unique. So it's a good idea to stock up on these, and every character is going to take 18 of these hero uniques to get to G16. So I would say kind of a safe bet, depending on how popular a certain hero unique is. You might want 36, or even, kind of triple a supply. So, there's a possibility you might want like 54 of the hero uniques just kind of stockpiled. Also keep in mind if they introduce G17, G18 eventually, you're also still going to require these hero uniques. So it's a good idea to stock up, plain and simple on that one. So next is the supply store, and Kale is in a little bit of a better situation as far as gold goes. The thing that I would definitely recommend buying from the gold store is when you do see the hero uniques. So again, miasmas, alien spores, astral energy, that kind of stuff. Definitely buy those. The other one that I would recommend buying from this store is also going to be the origin uniques. So in this case, I bought the augmented nanites because that is the skill origin unique, and I definitely want those stockpiled. Every character is going to need like 18 of these to, take up a one little gear spot. So depending on how heavy the character is, you're talking 54, 72 of these per character. So it's always a good idea to stock up on these origin uniques. And then lastly, just because Kale does have a little bit of extra gold, I'm also buying just the origin pieces. So in this case, it happens to be mutant. I think these are pretty abundant in the orbs, but while we are still only running Doom 2 once a week, I'm trying to get into Dark Dimension 5 as fast as possible without spending money. Let me just clarify that first. But so I'm also buying the origin pieces as well. I'm not buying catalysts. I don't think those are going to be as much of a bottleneck as the other pieces. So that's kind of what I'm doing. With that also being said, I've kind of laid off on buying a lot of the orange gear, just because a lot of the characters that I am currently either in Doom Raid with or planning to take to Dark Dimension 5 are already, G14, G15, so I'm not needing these pieces as much, so I'm able to kind of, hold off a little bit. There are some things still like Miasma that I still do need, but that's kind of where I am with the supply store. Blitz store, Raid store, there's really nothing to buy as far as teal gear goes. Same thing in the arena store. So now we're going to come on over to the war store. Now, another thing I want to suggest, and I did talk about it briefly, is talking about the possibility of an addition of a teal gear war orb level 1. There is a possibility they could add that to the game. They did add this one when DD4 was released, so there's a possibility. So when there's always a possibility, I recommend saving materials if it's not going to hurt your progress. So if you're already in Dark Dimension 4, and you're already making progress through that, there's really not much of a need to open these orange gear war orbs, because this is basically one of your kind of secondary ways to get the G15 pieces. So when you're looking here, the right pillar has the G15 origin uniques. So if you don't need these, you're better off actually holding on to your elite war credits and keeping our fingers crossed that there might be a teal gear war orb. With that being said, though, war credits are incredibly valuable. There's so many characters currently in the war store that are needed, and I'm kind of having to pick and choose a little bit. So currently I am farming Maria Hill. I'd like to get her to 6 stars before I kind of start farming some of the other heroes that are in here. So she's kind of my primary focus as far as shards go. But secondly, I am also buying the G16 hero uniques when I see them in the war store. I don't think the war credits are good for, say, just the origin pieces or the catalysts. Again, war credits are kind of hard to come by, so you want to use them kind of sparingly. So if you're in a position where you're maybe not farming as many characters in the war store, you can maybe certainly get a little bit more free spending. However, I mean, Kale, I've got basically all the farmable characters at 7 stars, or they have the shards to take to 7 stars. I just haven't spent the gold. And I mean, I've been playing, like I said, almost since launch. And for me, I even have still a war credit crunch. So I'm farming Maria Hill, and I am getting G16 hero uniques. And that's really all I think that the war credits are worth being spent on. I think the catalysts, the origin pieces, even the origin uniques, so, the nanites and stuff like that, I think you're better off buying those in the gold store or in these event stores. So that's just a quick little wrap up, I guess. That's where I think you can start stockpiling your G16 pieces. I would highly recommend kind of getting a rough idea of the teams you want to take in, obviously starting with City, and, start kind of stockpiling those uniques, so you can get the hero uniques with the Lady Deathstrike store if the Venom costume is not as important to you. And then in your gold supply store, you can get your hero unique, so miasmas, etc. You can also get your origin uniques, so stuff like your nanites, those ichors, so on and so forth. And then you can also get the origin pieces, so the cytoplasms and just the pieces that are more abundantly needed. And then I would actually, like I said, I would still hold off on buying Catalyst. I don't think those are going to be as much of a crunch. In your war store, again, I would highly recommend, farming characters that you do need, as well as picking up the hero uniques as well. So the miasmas, the astral energies, the alien spores, etc. So hopefully this does clarify a little bit more on which gear you should be purchasing from the supply store, from the specialty stores, and even from the war stores. As always, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is having a good one. Take it easy, and thanks again.